What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ review. Doing my end of year list. I've already done my top 10 movies of the year. Then I started thinking about what were the worst movies of the year. And I'm a guy that really likes to, even bad movies, I try to get some enjoyment out of them. I like movies, and even bad movies, I can usually get some enjoyment out of. But there were two movies this year that offended me, that made me so angry, not just because they were bad, but they were just offensively unredeemable. So I'm not going to do a top 10 list. I'm not going to even rank these two. But let's talk about the two movies that I found so offensively bad that there was no redeeming qualities in them. The first one is War of the Worlds. I don't know how this movie got greenlit. I don't know what they were thinking in the writer's room. I don't know. Like, the idea of Ice Cube playing an intelligence officer, sitting at a computer and telling the entire story of War of the Worlds from behind a computer screen. Zoom calls, traffic cams, FaceTimes, whatever the case may be. It was dull. It was boring. There was never any kind of stakes. There was never any kind of threat. It was the most blah version. How can you take War of the Worlds, one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever written, and turn it into this? It was like they were trying to make a bad movie. Not only were they trying to make a bad movie, but they were trying to offend everybody that's ever loved War of the Worlds. That original, 1957 movie, I grew up on it. I read the book when I was in high school. I even liked the show that came out in the 80s. It was a sequel to the 57 movie. I even liked the Tom Cruise movie, directed by Steven Spielberg. At least the first half of that movie was great. I like War of the Worlds. I have a certain level of attachment to it. And watching this movie was just watching this Amazon commercial, which is really what it was. It was just a level of offense that I haven't felt since I watched this other movie. Let's talk about the other one. This movie made me so angry, and it made me sad too. It made me sad because of how far this franchise has fallen. And the movie that I'm talking about is Star Trek Section 31. What a terrible, terrible representation of Star Trek. Awful movie. Takes things that we knew about Star Trek, like Section 31, and turns it into a joke, turns it into something that is way less interesting than it should have been, turns it into a modern cash grab that can't even do that because it's so bad. Paramount has lost touch of Star Trek. They don't know what to do with this franchise. That's painfully obvious. Every now and then you get things like Picard Season 3, which is great. But 99% of the Star Trek stuff they put out is complete and total garbage. You go back to the original series, you go back to TNG, you go back to Deep Space Nine, go back to Voyager. It's about the human experience. And it's about humans bettering themselves because they have a desire to better themselves. And it's about exploration and reaching beyond the confines that we live in today. And Section 31 just lost the script completely. Even Michelle Yeoh, one of the greatest actresses in the world, couldn't even come close to saving this dreck that this Star Trek movie was. This movie was completely, totally, painfully offensive, and I will never let it grace my screen again. And it, like I said, just makes me sad. Like Starfleet Academy, who's excited about that? I have zero interest in it whatsoever. I'm going to watch the first episode just so I have a reason to come onto this channel and complain, because I know I'm going to hate it. The poster alone makes me hate it. And I don't know if it's possible for me to hate it as much as Section 31, though, because it was just such a terrible, awful representation of Trek. So, those are my two worst movies of the year. If you liked one of these two movies, feel free to get online, get in the comment sections, tell me why you like these movies, but you're not going to change my mind. These were awful representations of these two franchises. And that's my take. All right, guys. Thanks.